Good day and welcome once again to a voice clip to teach English 5. How is everybody? I hope that you are all fine and in good condition and very excited once again to listen to our voice clip. And today we are now down to the last aspect of verb that we are going to talk about, and that is perfect progressive. So enough of the introduction and let's jump right in. The perfect progressive aspect is also called the perfect continuous tense. Is used to say that an event or action is, was, or will be continually occurring, progressive, but that it is, was, or will be completed at a later time, or that it relates to a later time. So I know, class, it's difficult for you to understand it very well in English, the definition of it. So here's the Tagalog version. So when we say perfect progressive, ito ay isang kilos o pangyayari na nagpapatuloy o magpapatuloy, ngunit nakukumpleto o makukumpleto kalaunan. So when you say kalaunan, we're talking of the future or hinaharap. At may kinalaman sa darating pang panahon. Okay, so that is the definition of the perfect progressive. So just like the first three that we have discussed, the simple, the progressive, and the perfect aspect, so perfect progressive also has three tenses. So we have the past perfect progressive, the present perfect progressive, and the future perfect progressive. And just like what we did previously, we are going to discuss it one by one. Are you ready, class? Okay. So let's start with the present perfect progressive tense. And under this, we have three conditions. Okay? The first condition of the present perfect progressive is it expresses an action in progress that is not yet completed. So when you say action in progress, isang kilos na nangyayari, but it is not yet completed. Hindi pa tapos. Okay? So for the next condition is expresses a situation or habit that began in the past and that continues up to the present. So ito yung isang sitwasyon o isang nakasanayang gawain na nagsimula daw sa nakaraan at nagpapatuloy pa rin hanggang sa kasalukuyan. Okay, and for the third condition, expresses an action that has been happening recently or nagpapahayag o nagpapakita ng isang kilos o pangyayari na nagaganap kamakailan lamang. Okay, so we're done with discussing the three conditions under the present perfect progressive. Now, how do we write sentences under present perfect progressive? Here is the formula before I give you some examples. Use has plus been plus ing form of the verb if the subject is singular. Again, use has plus been plus the ing form of the verb, and this is for singular subjects. And when your subject is plural or you're using the pronouns I or you, use have plus been plus the ing form of the verb. Okay? Here are some examples. Rowena has been reading that book for 2 months. Our subject is Rowena. She's singular. And then has plus been plus reading, because that is the ing form of the verb read, that book for 2 months. Okay, now we use for plus duration when talking about how long the action was in progress. So kung gaano daw katagal yung isang kilos ay nagaganap. In our example a while ago, Rowena has been reading that book for 2 months. So, Rowena has been reading that book for how long now? Okay, so for 2 months. Therefore, this sentence shows an action in progress but it is not yet completed. So, meaning to say, 2 buwan na siyang nagbabasa ng libro na yon. But until now, she is not finished with that yet. Nagets nyo, kids? Okay, very good. Next example. I have been accomplishing the task in this module since this morning. I will repeat. I have been accomplishing the task in this module since this morning. So our subject is I. Therefore, we're going to use have because the subject is the pronoun I plus been plus the ing form of the verb accomplish, which is accomplishing the task in this module since this morning. So, if you've noticed, this sentence has a specific point in time when the action started. So, in this sentence, our specific point in time is since this morning. Therefore, this is an example of an action or situation that began in the past and that continues up to the present. So imagine, I have been accomplishing the task in this module. Kailan pa? Kanina pang umaga. Pero hanggang ngayon, I'm not yet finished. Diba? I'm still working on it. So yun yung sinasabi natin kanina. And for the last example, the athletes have been practicing recently. So our subject is athletes. So we're going to use have plus been plus the ing form of the verb practice, which is practicing. So class, this sentence is an example of an action that has been happening recently. Okay? Very good. We're done with the present perfect progressive. Let's move on now to the past perfect progressive. So for this tense, we have 3 conditions as well. The first condition is expresses an action or habit taking place over a period of time in the past before another past event or time. In Tagalog, the past perfect progressive ay isang kilos o nakasanayang gawain na nagaganap sa isang panahon sa nakaraan bago ang isa pang naganap na pangyayari o panahon. The second condition is ongoing action in the past continuing to another point in the past. In Tagalog, isang kilos na nagaganap sa nakaraan na nagpapatuloy sa isang punto o panahon sa nakaraan. Okay? And the third condition, it is also used for expressing cause and effect in the past. Nagpapahayag ng sanhi at bunga sa nakaraan. Okay, so those are our 3 conditions under the past perfect progressive. And the formula for writing it is use had plus been plus the ing form of the verb. I will repeat. Use had plus been plus the ing form of the verb. So now, here are the examples of the past perfect progressive under those conditions that I've mentioned a while ago. Carla had been trying to finish her degree that year. Next, Tina had been cooking for 2 hours before she finished. And the last one, my father had been performing well, so the company gave him an award. Okay, we're done now with the past perfect progressive. And for our last one, here's the future perfect progressive. It expresses ongoing action that is taking place in the present and will continue in a specific future time. Okay, so in Tagalog, future perfect progressive, nagpapahayag ng nagpapatuloy na kilos na nagaganap sa kasalukuyan at magpapatuloy sa isang takdang panahon sa hinaharap. The formula in writing the future perfect progressive is use will or shall plus have plus been plus ing form of the verb. Okay, I will repeat. Use will or shall plus have plus been plus the ing form of the verb. Here now are the examples. Next month, the Bayanihan Dance Club will have been performing for 5 years. I will repeat. Next month, the Bayanihan Dance Club will have been performing for 5 years. Okay, so our subject is the Bayanihan Dance Club. So we will use will plus have plus been plus performing. Now, what is our specific future time in this sentence? Okay, next month. Galing ha? So, when that time comes, they will have been performing for how many years already? Yes, 5 years. So that's going to be their 5th year anniversary performing. So bale, next month daw, 5 years na silang nag-perform. Did you get me, class? Okay, very good. Let's proceed to the next example. Helen will have been teaching for 10 years next week. I will repeat. Helen will have been teaching for 10 years next week. So our subject is Helen. So we're going to use will plus have plus been plus the ing form of the verb, which is teaching. And what is our specific future time? Correct. Next week. So come next week, Helen will have been teaching for how long? 10 years already. So sa isang linggo pa lang darating, ay 10 taon na nagtuturo si Ma'am Helen. Ayan. So, that completes our discussion for the perfect progressive aspect. And we're done. So we have discussed the 4 aspects of verbs already. So I do hope that you have learned a lot of things about the aspects of verbs and how to write each of them using the formula that I taught you. But of course, more than that, I'm also hoping that you have really understood well all the concepts that we have discussed. And this is something that you can carry when you move to the next grade level. Ayan. And finally, sana this whole series also has been a big help for you in answering the given learning tasks in your English modules. And I want you to know that I really enjoyed making this series. So class, with that, this is your teacher again, Sir Dex, and I hope to see you all next week for another edition of A Voice Clip to Teach English 5. Bye-bye and God bless you all.